Welcome back to Polaris, everybody. It's time for the second map of this series here between KOVA and Finest. And surprise, surprise, Finest, for the third time in 3 weeks, did not win their own map pick. This time it was Haven. They didn't manage to take it away. KOVA took it from them. It's time to see if KOVA can take down the titans, as it were, of this group stage, because Finest, they've been able to bring it back so far every time, being able to lose that first map, coming back 2-1 in the series 2 weeks in a row. I think this is going to be a difficult one. For KOVA, obviously, this is a map that they want to finish us off quickly. They want to take these guys down. They have, a little bit of pain from last stage where, these kinds of margins between one map has been the decider between them making it to playoffs and them not making it to playoffs. So this time, I assume they want to get this done quickly. Do you think they can do it on Fracture here?
I mean, I would definitely say that you would normally have a lot of confidence, right? Coming in, you had a very strong performance on the first map, but it was a lot of it off of the back of unexpectedness, right? It was something that Finest struggled with, having to contest the new agent, not really expecting the strategies and synergies that KOVA would be throwing at them. They struggled to get into the site, they struggled to be able to find a lot of space and be able to walk past things like the chamber anchors and the Astra still being into play. And I think for Fracture, you are going to potentially be seeing even more of an upset in terms of the compositions. But no, KOVA is actually going to be fielding something that's very meta, very viable, and very expected. Yes, the Astra is still coming into play over the Viper in terms of your controller, but she can still be extremely strong. Cosmic Divide can work extremely well to be able to split off those sites like the Toxin Screen, and Nebula can be very good as well. Yes, you can only really use 2 of them in 1 round now, given that the cooldown of 25 seconds is after 1 activates, as opposed to being able to activate 2 at once, then setting off a 25-second chain cooldown so you can cycle through and get 4 in a row. But it can still be extremely effective at smoking off the right spaces, making sure that Ali has the position to work with, and this is something that Finest struggled with. You think back to all of the times that they tried to push her into lobby, the fact that the Nebula was there, they didn't know whether Ali would actually be in the middle of it or on the outside of it, and the Neon was able to find a lot of kills off of the back of it.
Well, we're going to have to see exactly how this works out, because these are very different geared comps. Obviously, a lot of them have meta agents, but, Kix and Bonkar picking up 2 initiators for Finest, whereas you got the double controller from Jesmond and Sutma on the Omen and Astra on KOVA. So different kind of geared styles here coming through. I'm expecting to see quite aggressive play here from Finest to try and take this second map back.
Yeah, they have a lot of stop potential as well, Kix coming in on that KO, so if Ali does want to try and disguise themselves and using those smokes to get up close and personal, you do have the means to be able to shut that one instantly down. The flash drive and the suppression, if the Neon gets hit, it is pretty much a death sentence. As Finest are going to be on the defense, playing it a lot more passively than we're used to seeing a lot of teams hold on Fracture, right? A lot of the time they do like to just hold very deep into holes, try and punish when the teams move forward aggressively. And Ali is already going to be finding a lot of space. The fast lane going to be coming on through, the Neon able to blitz up off the rest of the team to start moving onto that A site and take control. But what they don't have is ropes.
Oh, wow. Well, Jesmond is taken down now. I was going to make a comment about Ale there, but we'll save that for the end of the round. Ale manages to find another one, though. And now it's just Finest trying to retake this one. 1v3. Destructive can't quite do enough. I was going to say, Ale there just moves straight in. If you watch F1 right now, the term Ferrari peak has never been so relevant as it is right now.
Neon goes zoom.
Yeah, exactly. Just all the way through.
Immediately pressing W, moving on forward, and it creates a lot of space, allows KOVA to be able to get onto that side a lot safer than they would. And Finest, despite having a lot of crossfire control set up, the fact that they have ropes, still not really able to get safely back onto that side, and KOVA able to take pistols, can now set Jesmond actually up to come with the Bulldog. Was maybe expecting Ali to be picking that one up and trying to get up close and personal, but hey ho! Apparently the Spectre works just as well. The Neon's already gonna find a pick. Finest reduced immediately to just 2 players.
Yeah, Bonkar still around this corner, but they're ready for that, I think. Ale stuns it up, and Bonkar tries to keep him away, giving away his position. In the meantime, Shed and Jesmond turn around the corner at the same time. And it's just Mac and a left. Who expected this kind of thing? The Anchor player is the only player left alive. Well, he has a Sheriff and a Shorty. Oh no, a Sheriff, a Headhunter and a Shorty. Same thing. but this is going to be very difficult. I don't think he's going to get much out of this one. Oh my god, that flick onto Jesmond, though, was pretty much perfect. Can't quite find the second head. Shed takes him down, but at least he's got one weapon out of there.
Yeah, KOVA are actually really just getting a lot of aggression forward. With the Neon, you expect them to be moving forward quickly, but for Finest, that was them pushing in deep. They wanted to find the picks. They knew they were coming in with the weapon deficit, and they would try to do damage to the economy in the long run, but KOVA are the ones who were still able to find the picks. KOVA are the ones who are able to be a lot more aggressive. And for Finest, this is a round that is truly the test. Can you, when you have a full buy into rifles, be able to win against KOVA, who are still holding on, still bonusing up on those Spectres and the Bulldog that found a lot of value in the previous, and there it is, Vandal going to be immediately punishing Ally, not quite going to be getting the same amount of value and space that the Neon has had so far.
Yeah, and with that Neon down on attacking side, on Fracture, with a double controller comp, that really does hamper the way you're going to do this. Crossing paths there, switching sides on the two zip wires there. Shed is just holding down the anchor here over towards B site, while the rest of the team, oh sorry, the A site, while the rest of the team, God, every time, while the rest of the team heads over towards the other, but they don't really want to commit to anything right now. The spike is over towards A as well on Dish, and the rest of the players are over towards Spawn. I think really just making Finest sweat on this one. They've already established their confidence, established a little bit of dominance on last map. Those first two rounds were quite one-sided as well. Maybe KOVA now just want to let Finest sit in that for a bit. Just, you know, think about it. Think about it. Think about how we've come into these couple rounds. Think about all of the things you did wrong last game. Let's just sit here for a while, you know, have a nice time. Never mind, Mackinac will take the head off Shed. That puts things to a halt.
Yeah, KOVA though is still having to make a decision. They don't really have the time to rotate onto A, have to just move through onto the B. Spy carrier's been downed. Pix still not toppled in tower. Finally, Sutton is able to move on forward and take out the KO. But with 14 seconds left, are you going to be able to have enough time to get that spike safely into the ground? Because the second I just hear that Sankey start to go through, they can just swarm. And for KOVA, the trouble really started when Ally got taken out very early on, right? They lost that initiator, you correctly pointed out, when you're running that double controller. It can be very hard to safely, even with all of those smokes, be able to have enough aggression to be able to move through without being sprayed out, especially when it comes to places like Tower. The kicks can just sit in the back of the site, spray through the smokes, very little that you can do to punish until you actually get onto the site. You can get up close to that KO, and it's something that Finest are able to punish. They know that KOVA are trying to pull them, cut the noise, pull them out of position, catch them out that way. And it doesn't quite work out. Finest have a lot of patience, and they are able to take the round off of it. But KOVA this time around, it's not just going to be the straight W with the Neon, it is going to be a little bit more measured. And Kix, vulnerable, is forced to back away from Tower, allowing KOVA a little bit closer onto the B, but still not the value that they want.
They do have site control at least. They need to hold this one down for a while. The Cosmic Divide is going to give them space from Jesmond there, but they still need to keep him back, and there's no way they can defend that Cosmic Divide for that long. Jesmond, last player alive, 1 versus 5. Pop flash round the corner, catches him fully, and the defuse will go out. He's got no time to get round there and take that kill, although they just wait a second. One tap onto Kix. Oh, they get one rifle out of there, but the defuse will come through, and Yassine will make things a little worse by taking his body away. Jesmond, goodbye.
Yeah, so for KOVA, the problem is that they had to sacrifice bodies to be able to get that spike down.
Yeah.
And when the spike goes down, because they've basically pushed Finest away and delayed the problem of the defense, they're not able to actually get into really good post-plant positions. And you can see that Jesmond is just entirely occupied in Tower, can't even try and contest the defuse to go one through because of the lack of space that KOVA had access to. And so Finest able to equalize 2-2. Shed looking for anything that the Tour de Force can connect with us, but it's Mackinac who's able to find the first pick.
Yeah, perfectly timed before that rendezvous gets him out of that. KOVA, slow down once again, because that is a heavy loss to take. You're only initiator this time. You know, you lose that, you obviously lose that initiator suddenly. Pushing onto a site is much more difficult of a task, much more daunting of a task, but Shed is there with the Tour de Force to make things a little easier for the team. 1 kill, Mackinac down. They need to do a lot more than that to get through onto site though. Kick's still anchored up over towards Heaven there. You can see the rotations coming through. They really want to formulate something that's going to work, rather than just getting on site and dealing with it as it comes.
I mean, they need to try and oust Kix from tower once again, but Kix is doing a very good job of dancing around this tour de force.
Oh, hello.
Hello!
There we go.
So
well, they know where Kix is
making
now.
Sure, yeah, making sure that the KO is there. Ali is actually going to use the dash to be able to get into tower. Sutma's able to actually connect with Kix and try and down them.
30 seconds left.
The problem is that you've again sacrificed a lot of bodies. 2 of your players. The suppression has come on through. The spike carrier has been killed. You've sacrificed bodies and not even been able to get the spike in. And Finest walk away with another round as yet again KOVA have to put so much in to deal with Kix that they just don't have anything when the rest of Finest surface.
Yeah, here's the thing. When KOVA are playing with this kind of composition, everything hinges on them getting that spike down. Once they've got the spike down, they have 2 controllers. They can, they can keep the site pretty well locked down, as long as they have those guys alive. If they can't get onto site, what can you do? You lose that initiator or you lose that duelist, and suddenly you've got half the pushing power. You don't even get through, you can't get on site. It becomes so much more difficult. It's not like they're a more defensively geared team, it's just they have to play defense even on attack.
And it's what they're really struggling with. And Finals are doing a very good job of really punishing the fact that KOVA do have to have the space, do have to get the spike down. Even when they get the spike down, there's not enough time for them to be able to pull out before Finest are able to just swarm back over. This time, actually, we're going to be seeing KOVA a little bit more spread out across the map. There's a little bit of contact and lurking up towards B, but it is chamber. So Shed is just trying to find a lot of information. Kix, seeing that B hasn't been as contested as previously, let's push a little bit further forward, the KO out of tower. This would be a moment that KOVA can take advantage of, and there it is, the pick onto Kix is going to start to draw the team. If they want to push onto the B side, it is a lot easier to move through from tower, but they also know that Finest might fall for it, might be expecting the rotation to come through, and they start to head towards the A. The problem is that Finest, they're still sitting on the A, they're still deep, they've still got the operator, and Shed going down is going to be a problem for KOVA, because now who do you have to sit backside and cover when you start to move through?
Well, Rolling Thunder is going to stop Ale right in his tracks. I love that shot, that was amazing. Because Ale just getting absolutely domed, going nowhere whatsoever. That's called a clothesline, I would say. I mean, it's just going to get worse and worse for them. They can't really get in, but they're making it work. They don't have a lot of time left, so they, without the spike in hand, don't have anywhere to go. They have the site to themselves. Yassine is just watching the spike. Sutma will take down Yassine, but that's not enough to get the round win, and Makina up there with the spike in hand is going to take away the round, and that's a lot of value lost for KOVA there. They committed quite a bit to that.
Yeah, and the fact is, like, they got the pick onto Kix. B-site was suddenly a lot safer. You don't have to worry about the KO and tower. You can push through if you want to. It's only the one player now anchoring it. But they decide to go A, which is unfortunately where Finest have 3 of their players set up in a very horrible crossfire to break, knowing that when KOVA push onto these sites, it is very much a speed thing. They don't clear the angle, they only clear the space necessary to get the spike down. And so they don't break that crossfire, and they can punish Ale, who tries to move forward far too aggressively, runs straight in, gets clotheslined by that Rolling Thunder. And Finest take the round, even though they're the ones who start to lose those players, start to feel less of that pressure towards B. But it's the operator going to be pressuring KOVA out now, as it does seem like we have a little bit of a pause, but for KOVA this is good. They can sort of reset their mentality, they can think about how they want to best approach the composition that Finest are throwing at them, and they need to decide, is it going to be safer to slowly pick away at B, or do you start to really play with Finest, go the way that they're not expecting? Because we're yet to see a proper fake come out from KOVA, and it's something that can be punished, right? The fact that Finest have now fallen into a pattern of when KOVA push onto a site, they're pushing onto a site, we want to set up here. If you start to throw a little bit unpredictable strategy towards Finest, they may fall for it, and KOVA can start to claw rounds back.
Yeah, it's a million-dollar question, as it were, for KOVA, is how are you going to deal with what Finest are bringing to the table here? Because KOVA haven't really found an answer yet. It's not like they've adapted and, Finest have been able to keep away with that adaptation. KOVA just hasn't had an opportunity to adapt yet. Ale just comes in with the overdrive. That's one pick. Shock him up. Get that operator. Get out of there. Oh, the showstopper doesn't hit either. They get well out. Kicks. Throws the flash right as that smoke gets cleared, and KOVA hold up in heaven, interestingly. Are they going to try and get out of there now and go back towards A? That is what's happening. They are heading towards A. Goodbye.
Well, they also have Ale, right? So Finest have to be extremely cautious about how they rotate. They're going to be running into Supma, who's been just playing havoc on this Omen, making it really hard using those sign cues to confuse Finest, not let them know whether or not there's still an Omen around. They have not yet realized. Yasin sensing something is up, is actually going to be waiting to see if they're approached from halls, but Desmond is actually already on drop with the operator. He's going to have such a good eye on to rope, but Yasin playing deep inside underneath is able to find one before they're traded out, has meant that KOVA has not been able to get the spike in time.
Oh,
and
no.
now Finest able to wrap around. There's the pinch, there's the crunch. And there goes a round that KOVA should have had in the bag. It's 77 HP. Supma has to find something, anything, trying to suck these fights out. Finds the breach,
No way.
but is not able to translate the kill. And it was looking so strong for KOVA, Twiggy.
I mean, that's unreal. KOVA had control of B. Yes, it would have been risky to go in straight towards site. You didn't have your utility back up. You had to use it all to get in and get those picks. But they had control of B.
Yeah.
They could have taken their chances. They had better numbers to just move in, get the spike down, deal with whatever comes afterwards. But they went all the way back round to A. They overthought so hard, gave Finest the opportunity to rotate behind them.
Yeah, and no one expected Yasin to still be anchored on that A. That's the problem. They thought that they had all of the cards, all of the momentum, that they were the ones dictating the tempo, right? Ali's coming in on that neon. You can rotate super fast. You can get onto that site before Finest. But Yasin's just able to put up enough of a fight that delays the plant from coming through, so Finest, without even having that jet or the neon, able to still get the wrap around, and Yasin once again being the problem, immediately taking out Ali with this operator. Still looking for more, making it so hard to be able to move into Arcade to try and pressure out this race, because even if you push them back into tower, it's a raise in tower. That's where they want to play. All of that utility gets to just bounce off the walls and constantly hit you, pummel you with that 2-tap damage. As KOVA, without any choice, are forced to go towards A, something that Finest, Machina's just waiting, lying in wait with that tour de force. Sees the Nebula comes through, sees the chamber, doesn't manage to find the pick, but isn't punished. There's the rendezvous. And now you've only just repositioned. KOVA still struggling to actually get onto one of these sites.
Oh dear. KOVA playing with not much time here. Kicks comes round from ult, gets 2 picks. Vicious can't even get the trade. Comes around from behind, can't find anything. They try and keep him away, but Bonkar's just going to walk through, find one more. Kicks is there with the 3rd, and it's a flawless round from Finest, and that is really just a microcosm, that round, of what's been going on this game so far.
Yeah, and for Finest, it isn't really any sweat off their brow if they mostly position their forces onto B and then have Machina on the chamber just anchored towards that A, because if you get pressured by a deathball composition of the other team, you do have the means of escaping with yourself and also getting the information that, oh hey, the entire team is on the A, you can start to rotate around and put up enough of a fight where we've already seen Finest are able to rotate in time. KOVA. Attention entirely occupied, not able to find the money on these spike plants either, because they're just not able to get the spike down in time. Their economy is showing. It's not clean, and now Kix is the one who's moving aggressively forward with all of the confidence, knows if you pressure the KO, you're walking into a flash drive. You've got the 0 point to figure out where Ali is going to be dashing into, and the means of shutting all of that utility down so that KOVA cannot use the smokes, cannot help the duelist get out alive.
Bonkar holding up the rest of the team here. KOVA have not found a foothold in this round whatsoever. Shed trying to come in from Dish. Gets the kill onto Machina, who can't quite connect with the Headhunter. Yasin finds one with the paint grenade, and Bonkar trying to hold back Dish now. There comes a fault line. Vicious now, completely stunned up. Finds the body shot onto Bonkar, putting him down to low health. Shed just jumps around the corner. Tries to get that pick, but Bonkar and Kix will finish it off and make it a 7-2. They've already won the half. How much worse can they make it?
Yeah, Yeah, for KOVA it is very much a case of you need to get your economy reset. You need to be able to win this round. This was the round that you ecoed into. This is the round that you have ultimates to be able to play with, and something that's very interesting is that despite having Tour de Force online for Shed, they are opting to buy the Chamber of Vandal. So you can see that they are spooked by the fact that Finest have been finding a lot of vibe with Bubusine and Mashna with this operator very early on, and they're not really going to be relying on that one to find that first pick.
I can't quite get away from that one in time, but Shed is just the player that watches Ale, the kid on the leash, that just walks all the way through and distracts everybody, and he'll just stay there with his rifle and pick up anybody who's distracted by him. Well, that's more like it for KOVA. They just need a few more rounds of that. They can set up now, and they have both controllers alive to keep them away. Cosmic Divide stops them from pushing through, but in comes Yassine from Dish, and they can just get a free kill there. Aftershock into sight, pushes Vicious outside of the corner, takes a little damage for it as well. Yassine trying to get this next pick hit, make it easier for his team. He gets through, but Ale is just watching that one. Destructive is there with the trade, but Shed takes down Bonkar, and now KOVA are looking like getting their third round. Destructive, ooh, an operator, shiny, let's go. No, never mind. Destructive wants kills.
Yeah, knows that honestly, it's a lot more costly for KOVA to lose guns than it is for Finest. Isn't gonna find anything except a shallow grave though. As KOVA looking a lot more put together, the fact that they're able to really react into when Finest dropped that aftershock, it's meant to bully Vicious into the line of fire for Yassine to be able to pick them out from drop, but it's a dark cover from Sigma right over drop that forces Yassine, if you want to actually have any control in the site, to drop down right into Ale's Vandal. And you can see there are those moments, those glimpses of the KOVA that we've seen when they have the time, when they're able to get the spike properly into the ground and pull into those positions. They're able to hold, they're able to win these rounds, but Finest have been stopping them from doing that so often.
Finest need to bring that momentum back. They have one more round that they can lose before they start having economical troubles, but they definitely don't want to let KOVA run away with the rest of this half. That would be awkward for the rest of the game. It's obviously KOVA will still have a hard time winning out the game after that, but Finest just don't want to deal with that at all. Paint Grenade to keep Ale out of heaven there, but all of the ults are going to be used. And I don't even know what's going on here. Shed finds the first pick. Yassine's still up there. And they're just going to force him out. They're slowly making their way towards B. They're putting pressure on one by one and just making sure that they clear everything out before they move in. Yassine trying to fire down on top of them, but Vicious is there to take the head off. There's only 2 players left on the Finest side. They have that operator. Looks like they're going to be losing it unless they just play to save it. Plant goes down. Oh, good flash. Kicks. Gets one. If anybody can retake this one, it is Kicks.
Well, he does have no command, and Mashna is in position. If you force everyone on the side of KOVA into the operator, it's going to be a shooting gallery.
Okay, well, KOVA managed to end it out. I mean, they really wanted to save a couple more rifles. They have enough money that they can buy into this last round, just about, so they'll be absolutely okay. I mean, both teams can buy up into this one, so it's going to be an even last round. To try and get this done, I don't know if I can separate these two now. KOVA have started to warm up. They've started to kind of respond to what Finest are doing, and they're coming up with better strategies, but it took them a little while. You know, they lost 7 rounds from 3 to 9 there. That's time that they really could have used to push the scoreline further. We've seen that KOVA can give answers to Finest. I'm wondering why it took so long.
And the problem is it took so long that even now they've adapted into how they're attacking. One more round and they're going to be defending, and they have to figure out an entirely new strategy. And so for KOVA, if they want to have a couple more rounds to be able to sort of sit back and really translate how Finest are attacking, they do need to win this last round in the half. Mashna going to be trying to do the best to stop just that operator, not going to find the pick that it's looking for though, as Ale is just trying towards tower. Putting on a little bit of show, peeking out, wondering whether it's going to be Yassine or Kicks holding up in that space. How much utility KOVA has to put into it. This is just going to be smoke, or does a player actively have to move into that area to be able to stop Finest from being able to shut down any momentum as they move in? It's actually going to be Supna moving up the rope to try and get into tower and make sure that it is clear that Finest don't have that angle, and the rest of KOVA can start to move up.
I mean, that's great utility usage from Finest to keep him back, but KOVA just don't care. They just walk in, they get some utility of their own down, and they get the kills, and that's exactly what counts. Shed will find Machina now, and it's just destructive left. 1v4. Can he make it an 8-4 half, or will they be coming around with only a 2-round difference? It looks very much like it's going to be the latter. Has the incendiary ready, but he's got his peeking outside of the smoke, and they'll just be able to take that one down. It's Shed who finds the trigger first. But KOVA, you know what? Not a bad half, honestly.
Yeah. When you compare how this matchup started on Fracture to how that half ended, KOVA are feeling very happy with themselves. 2 points in between both of these teams, it's doable. If you win pistols, you set yourself up to be able to take that second round, which means an equalization. 7-7. And then it becomes a question of economy. Something that you can punish the fact that KOVA, they're running the chamber, but they're also running the neon. So similar to the Jet, if you are in a rough spot when it comes to money, you do have overdrive to fall back onto, as opposed to Finest, who are only really going to be able to work with that tour de force.
KOVA now have a task ahead of them, but they do have the composition to make it easier on them. We need to get those 8 rounds on the board to win this game out, get the 2-0. But with 2 controllers, they can waste a lot of time. They have a lot of utility to keep Finest back in their own spawns. And obviously on a map like Fracture, having a lot of controller utility is really useful just to keep them back. Just like that, you've seen now kind of stuck inside this one. They're going to use their own, obviously, utility to get in. But now they've utilized all of that controller utility, every piece of controller utility that they have in their Brimstone. Now Sutma finds the first pick, and that's just going to make things more difficult as Kix tries to hold them back over towards Arcade there, taking down Jesmond. KOVA can come back into this one in just a second. Finest need to hold it down, but you can see their positioning. Not ideal. Doesn't matter. Machina finds heads from any angle. Like that one. And they'll try and rush through here, Canteen. But I don't think they're going to find much more than that. Finest will, looks like, take away that pistol round. Vicious just trying to find one more pick. But they're all coming at different times. There's no way. Kix finishes it out. Finest again, just make it that little bit more difficult for KOVA to finish off.
Yeah, and even though KOVA have the double controller, the fact that they should be able to delay an awful long time, it's nothing compared to the delay that Finest are able to pull off on their B defenses, because they've got the Raze and the KO, 2 agents who were very strong at being able to hold in tower. If KOVA want to hold on to tower, you saw it, right? Shed is the one who tries to hold that space. The second that pressure comes across, it's rendezvous out, because if someone from Finest actually moves forward into your ground, you don't have things like the paint shells or the flash drives to guarantee that you can stick in that space. And so when the smokes run the course, Finest already have control of tower and side, and are able to bounce how KOVA are able to make it back in. And for KOVA, it is the full eco coming out from them. That's like some one-shotty for Sutma, going to be trying to find anything that the Omen can, but you're already playing very far back. You're waiting for them to try and move up into halls to try and put that one to use and catch them unawares. The problem is Finest know that it is going to be a buy like this, and they can push into B. You don't have the weaponry to be able to hold space like tower and make it extremely painful, extremely costly for this attacking team to be able to start to have to really expend utility, and there it is.
Yassine will also find a 2k. Machina pushes in. It's just Sutma left. Might be able to get this kill. Not quite with the shorty. So it is a flawless round from Finest, but KOVA, they weren't panicking that round, which is good. They definitely, you know, obviously for 2-round difference, they don't want to let Finest get double digits, but they can give away a round or two just to make sure that they're buying into this one as best as possible. They're going to expect to win this round. If they don't win this round, now things are going to be looking a bit awkward. But if they win this round, things are not too bad. It's damage control, and Kix is the only one with a rifle. That hero rifle might come in massive. It is Kix.
Yeah, this round, and then not the round after, but the round after that, are going to be the true decider for KOVA's economy. Whether or not it's going to be forces, or whether it's going to be comfortable. And Finest know this. There's a reason that even though they were on SMGs in the previous, Kix is now going to be running that Vandal. Looking for the kills, looking to try and really force KOVA out of positions into fights where they think they're at an advantage, where they want to try and take these distance areas, and then Kix can just pop out with those flash drives and melt through those HPs.
This is well played so far by KOVA. They're keeping them back. They're making sure to use that better range against the team. Kix is still yet to get involved though. Over towards Dish. I mean, the rifle could come in massive just to get 1 or 2 kills here. Sees Ale. Almost stunned up. Has the flash drives ready. Shed coming around the corner. Fragment could even back. But he's getting stunned up. He's getting pushed out. And it's only a matter of time. There's Vicious through the wall. It's a flawless round, and that's exactly what KOVA wanted out of that.
Yeah, and now it's not going to be the force. Now it's going to be the slow road to recovery. As they can keep their rifles, but for Finest, they've got a nest egg. It's going to be a costly round. Don't get me wrong if they're not able to pull this off, but they can afford an operator. And for KOVA, suddenly you can't sit pretty in tower. You can't push in super aggressively to look for those first picks. If Ali tries what we saw that Neon attempts on attack, you're going to be walking into that operator. You're going to be walking into the flashes, and ooh, almost.
Almost. Both teams walk away unscathed. Yeah, it's Finest now just trying to figure out exactly what's the best way to play this round. They haven't really got KOVA's number so far on this. They haven't figured out exactly what they like to do on defense, so they're just playing it slowly and going for picks. It could come back to bite them, because KOVA have a lot more utility to use to keep them back, so if they do wait too long, KOVA could definitely keep them back a little further. They're going to sit and spawn for now. They're just going to play it out. You can see KOVA not too bothered by the early round aggression. They're just sitting back in defaults once again. They're just slowly using their utility, not overdoing things.
Yeah, and this is really the first time we've actually seen like the slow cycle. When they were on the attack, it was very much burn everything all at once when you push onto the site. But now, properly using the fact that they have two of those controllers, you can cycle the smokes. You can really force Finest to be very uncomfortable. Play far more aggressively, allowing plays like that, where something can just peek out, get a pick as they move from main, and then pull back into tower.
Oh no, that really didn't go the way Finest wanted it to. They're all down over towards stairs and they can't get anybody through. Only Bonka has managed to make headway, and that was towards Arcade. He's by himself and he's taken down. And KOVA, they got their rifles in their hands and they are quite happy.
Yeah, KOVA feels like a very late bloomer in terms of getting these rounds in a row. We saw it on the first map where they struggled to begin with, but then looked extremely strong the longer the series went on, whereas for Finest it was the opposite, right? They looked very strong at the beginning, and then gradually they made more and more mistakes, and they just looked very unsteady at the end, and it does feel like we're seeing it here now, right? The fact that they're not able to actually punish Shopma, that the Omen is able to find so much value and stop them from moving from main onto the B side on a buy that they really wanted to be able to pull off of, as now they are going to be uncomfortable. They're going to be on an uncomfortable buy. Bonka has a frenzy. A frenzy can do a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but up against an operator, you are going to have to land almost every single shot to make sure that your team can actually move on to one of these sites or expend every bit of utility, every flash, every smoke that is available. And if KOVA play it smart, if they play it slow, if they burn your utility out, well, they still have smokes in the pocket with those double controllers always able to make sure that Destructive is snuffed out. Things start to fall apart.
Yeah, Shed made a mistake there. That was an unforced error. Didn't have any cover walking through. They had not cleared stairs at that point. Just got taken down. And that is an operator down as well. That's a big loss there. Somebody will have to pick it up towards the end of the round, or not. Or just leave it. Who cares? They have a lot of money. Well, they will, if they win the round.
At least Finest don't manage to grab it, though. That could have been really nasty if Machina on an eco is able to pick up an operator that early on.
30 seconds left.
Jasmine splits the difference between two players there. Doesn't manage to get that second kill. It's Ale holding down a site here, waiting for them to come through. Yassine boosts through, but Ale is tracking like a beast, making sure nobody can get in that. Kicks finds two with the Sheriff, but Sutner is able to get trades one by one, and KOVA, although it is expensive, it doesn't matter. They have a lot of bankroll. They can buy into the next round no matter what, and they come away taking that difference down to one round.
Yeah, well, KOVA can buy in, but so too, for the most part, can Finest. The rifle's going to be coming out, and yeah, Finest are going to be kicking themselves for not clearing Yasmin.
Yeah.
That is unfortunate, and it does mean that you're not really able to unseat the anchor on that A site before you move in, so you're seeing just coming with the double satchel packs, just gets tracked by Ale, and now KOVA sitting on so many ultimates, they're going to have a lot of information. Tour de Force going to be coming out from Machina. The Shed sitting on that operator is going to be looking for that early first pick.
Holding it down, and again they've switched up their style a little bit. They're not as aggressive in the places they were aggressive in last round. They're a little more aggressive in areas that they weren't. So they're changing things up. It's good development. You might say, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it is working for them. It is making sure that Finest really don't gain any kind of advantage here. Yassine comes in, but the flash is perfectly timed to stop the Showstopper from getting any value at all. Just gonna have to waste that one. Machina luckily does find one with the tour de force. Jesmond is gonna be pushed out by Bonkar, and that's a great fault line to make sure what is going on! Jesmond finds two after being completely stunned up. Yassine takes out Shed. KOVA have completely taken control of this, but not for long. Jesmond does get finished off by Yassine in the end, but I mean, this has gone a lot better for KOVA than they would have expected after those first 20 seconds. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Ale?
no.
30
Ale?
seconds left.
What
Ale?
else is that?
Please. Please, Ale. No. Ale's dead.
Yeah.
Just Fisher's left. 1v3. Not looking likely. It's been a decent round for them, but they needed a little more after Yesman's picks there. He's going to be completely stunned up. Nice pick, but Machina's there with the tour de force. Once again, getting a lot of value out of that. 10 rounds for Finest, and they only need 3 more to finish this one out and bring it to map 3.
Ooh, that is a seesaw. First Yassine opens up with Showstopper and you think, okay, you're going to have so much aggression, you can go onto the A site, you're going to get the spike planted in the ground, you're going to turn it into the 40 seconds, you're going to be able to pull back, you're going to be able to bounce it, and KOVA come back in, and then Yasmin is still alive. So Showstopper goes through, Yassine goes forward, all of the rest of the team, including Spike Carrier, are stuck. Yasmin is able to down Spike Carrier, able to bounce her, and play bodyguard to where Spike is, but then Ale does not work, gets put out by the tour de force, and suddenly it's back to Finest's advantage. And KOVA, I'm sure, are going to be kicking themselves for that one, but it's not a lot of impact in the long run. They have still been able to buy up into this run with all of the rounds that they've been able to string together previously. Much more importantly, Shed can still go toe-to-toe with Machina. And we are seeing that Finest don't really know where to expect how KOVA is playing. They're having to take a lot of time, clear these angles, or get punished when it comes to actually getting onto these sites safely.
They're not going to expect Ale to be right there. And Shed has just distracted them perfectly. Ale gets one. Kix is able to get that trade before anything more happens, but that's a good paranoia. Sutma isn't quite ready for Kix to be around the corner, though. Shed is going to be backed out of CT. Meaning it's a 3v3 now, and Finest have control of site. They haven't managed to get the spike down yet. It's going to take a little longer for that. But the smokes are being used. Luckily, they still have their controller alive. Yesmond is inside that smoke, and Kix does not care. Finds one, finds the fourth. He's looking for his ace to finish off this one and make it 2 rounds away from that victory. Shed is the last player standing. But Kix isn't hungry. Kix backs up. Kix plays it safe.
I mean, Spike is in the ground. You don't have to contest. You know an operator is there for the chamber. It's a lot more of a risk being out in the open when it is that fragment comes through, doesn't manage to pick out Shed, and is actually enough to deter the chamber from moving forward. With the amount of time the spike has been down, the call is coming on through, save the operator. Know that it's going to be in the pocket, that we don't have to break the bank to be able to afford it, and now the hunt begins. Finest wanting to take this chamber out, not wanting to allow Shed the weapon that could potentially allow KOVA to come back in when they're coming on to an unfavorable buy.
Yeah, I mean, this one is twofold. Honestly, if he dies here, he has his tour de force, but I think they want to save that tour de force for the next round if they lose this one, so it's a little bit of a twofold one. So they managed to get an operator in this round and the next round, no matter what happens. But yeah, I mean, that's an awkward situation to be in, and Finest have just made it so that it's these small margins that get them these rounds. It's working out perfectly for them. Look at that buy from KOVA. It is not nice.
No, it's not. And they are actually opting in for double sniper. It's not double operator, it is going to be double marshal. But at least they do still have the operator. Machina gets stunned out, is able to use the rendezvous to get safely out of that death trap. Sutma just firing off the marshal, getting a lot of space moving forward. Does now see and break both the trademark and the rendezvous, so if Machina gets pressured, you're able to get out.
Sutma and Shed were on a Black Ops mission over there. They just run all the way through. Sutma is going to be punished for that one. They do a lot of damage. Nobody, almost nobody, Yassine is on full health, but nobody else on full health. A lot of armor lost for the team. This could make it a lot easier to stop them from getting into sight. Yesmond doesn't quite find Yassine before he gets all the way up into the high ground, though. Yassine finds the head, though. 3v5. It's doable with these sheriffs, but it's so difficult now. And they really don't want to go to match point. They'll have an ult available, but not much more than that. You've seen is just watching down Ale now. He needs to find this opening pick. Pop flash. Forces Vicious back around the corner. Need to make something out of this round, but they slow down, and Machina takes out Shed as well. There's your operator gone. Vicious takes one, but kicks us there with a trade, and it's just Ale. I don't even know what you do at this point. 1 versus 4. That's probably what you do. 1 headshot. 2 headshots. He can get out of there. 23 HP, picks up a Vandal. Still has time to get the defuse, but Bonker is there around the corner waiting for him. I mean, it was a ballsy play.
Yeah, it's so costly though for Finest, but they are on match point and they do still have an operator in play. As adaptation has come through, they know that KOVA really do like to punish the fact that even if Finest get the spike down, KOVA are close enough to be able to stop them from pulling into those post-plant positions. You can see that Ale is the one that the team allocates to be in position, but suppressed, and then with the fragment being thrown in, you're forced to stick around inside spawn. You're not able to just put up that pressure that KOVA are really needing the Neon to output. And they are going to need Ale to pop off in this moment as well. The 2 orbs away from getting the overdrive, but Submer is going to fall, and that's not starting off things well for that defense. You've lost a controller, you've lost one way of dealing with Machina. This operator is now going to be on an absolute tear because it's just the nebulas that are so costly if you use them at the wrong moment.
Ale's doing work though. Takes out your scene. Makes things a little more difficult for Finest to push all the way in. But Bonkar is around the corner. He'll take 1. Jesmond is there with the trade, but can't find Destructive. Which makes it a 2v3. Tour de Force and a rifle, but there goes the Tour de Force. It's looking like it's all but over now, unless Vicious can pull out a 1 versus 3. He's still suppressed for the moment. He sees 1. He's just going to spray through the smoke and not find that kill. Flash is going to give away his location. Destructive takes it out. It's 13-8 for Finest, and they will take it to that 3rd map. Look for the reverse sweep once again.
Yeah, Finest looking extremely strong as that series continues, able to really mesh into what KOVA are running up against, punishing the fact that with that double controller you do sacrifice in terms of other parts of your composition. You're not running either double duelist or double sentinel, so you can have, unfortunately, a lot of further more passive play, right? You have to wait for the spike to go down for the attacking side to show their hand, so that you don't get caught out in a bait and switch. And then if one of your controllers falls, especially because it's the Astra who's the 2nd controller, and that really does, like, it forces your hand with the Nebula. If you have the Nebula available, you don't want to use it to just try and shut down an operator. You're also trying to use those 2 Nebulas to get the rest of your team safely through and cut off all of those other angles. And while, yes, in the past, Astra was absolutely perfect for being able to just spam all of these places with smoke, nowadays, it's not so much.
Yeah, in finest fashion. They've done it twice before. They're trying to do it again. They're going for the reverse sweep. It's almost scripted at this point. Who is writing this one? Because it's absolutely amazing that the team at the top of the leaderboard right now have not had a flawless series whatsoever. I'm going to ask them about this in the interview for sure if they do win this series, because that is absolutely amazing. But KOVA just not quite being able to manage with it as quick as possible. And if they had managed with it quicker in that first half, if they had been able to get 1 or 2 more rounds, they would have had a much better chance in the second half.
It feels as well that they were just being extremely punished when the half swapped. We didn't really see Submer being able to find a lot of value, right? Getting taken out of the equation very early on in these rounds. Shed falling to Machina a lot of the time as well means that on the defense you're not finding that value that is there for Fracture. Fracture can be extremely explosive. That's why we're seeing both the KO and the Neon coming up as MVP. Kicks obviously had an absolute stellar stalwart defense of Tower on that B side, and Ali being very good at trying to brute force KOVA's passage onto those sides. But on the defense, we didn't really see KOVA get to move forward aggressively and go for those very early picks that are so characteristic of this map, right? The fact that the defenders a lot of the time can just push, steamroll all of their players through places like A holes and absolutely decimate a team called unawares.
Yeah, this was definitely a close match. You look at this matchup here, the ACS differences are minimal at best. You didn't have any player underperforming, any player overperforming. These were two teams that were going at each other's throats for the whole match. And unfortunately, KOVA just lost too many rounds in that first half. They just gave away a little too much control to Finest at one point, because the rest of the game, it was back and forth so much. Every time somebody had an answer to something else. And it was just that prolonged period of Finest dominance that gave them that game overall. We're going to be heading to a third map. So, Finest looking to get another reverse sweep. I can't say it enough times. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm incredibly excited. I said this was going to be an amazing game, and I was correct.
Yeah, we get to be really smug. We are going to be going the full distance. It is sort of a characteristic of Finest games, and I can't wait to see the copy pastas that Chad is going to be coming up with, because neither it is just a tradition. You guys can make it official.
Yeah, well, head to Split with us after a short break. We'll be seeing who exactly is going to come away with this victory. Will Finest get their third reverse sweep in a row, or will KOVA manage to take down the Titans of the group? Find out in a little bit. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, Bonker here, in-game leader for Team Finest.
Hi, my name is Yasin. I'm a duelist for Team Finest.
What will change for Split 2? I mean, we're a brand new team, and I would honestly say that a lot of things is going to change for this split because of the meta shift. Chamber is in the game, Jet is getting nerfed, etc. So it's going to be a lot of new, different things.
Obviously, we have a whole new team now. We also have a new meta coming in. I think that will favor us a lot. We have Kix, who's a great young player with a lot of potential. Kind of reminds me of Leo when we found him back in the days. So definitely excited to see where we're gonna go now.
I'd say our performance from last split was very underwhelming. We had a lot of difficulties within the team that we had to deal with, and I'd say we did the best we could with the cards we were dealt.
Obviously, our performance in Split 1 was not what we had planned. We kind of threw the bag, if you can say that. I was expecting us to reach all the way to Challengers. We did not. Could blame what happened within the team, but I will not. I'm just excited for this one.
Goal for Split 2 for our team is this time we're winning it all. In our new roster coming in, I'd say look out for Machina on the Sentinel role, and also Kix, our young gun. I think he has amazing mechanical skill, also really nice game sense, and he's playing all of these Battle Breach, Battle KO, Battle Sky playstyle. And also Machina is just a amazing chamber player.
Honestly, we're way more confident going into this split than we were going into the first one. I think the first one we're kind of stressed and, forced a little bit. Building this team has been way different. We've been having a lot of trials, taking our time, picking the right players, and focusing more on team chemistry, I feel like. So I'm honestly way more confident going into this split with these guys than I was before. Don't want to say too much. I'm just excited to see where we go.